All right, and we're live, Jerry. And everybody, welcome to Metarog's channel and this very special kind of impromptu live stream about my Witchcraft 5. First, I want to say hello and thank my special, very special guest and a very good friend, Jerry the Jitterbug. How are you tonight, Jerry?
I'm doing wonderful, Roger. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm blessed. I mean, it's outside, it's raining, but I'm here with you. I'm here with a friend. I'm so glad I got to meet you in South Carolina in person. Oh, my wife says hi, by the way.
Oh, tell her hi as well. She was a very nice woman. I was very. It was very nice to meet her, Roger, and especially meeting you in person. It was wonderful. It's always good to see a person, together with the flesh instead of over the internet. It's a special thing. So
it is. And what a coincidence that we were both there at the same time. I didn't know you were going. You didn't know I was going, but it just worked out.
My nephew was saying I was embarrassing you because I was in the pool and I actually saw you on the balcony when they were giving the tour. You were about maybe 10 stories up. I was yelling your name. He's like,
I couldn't hear. It was so loud. I could not hear. That's hilarious. Yeah, say hi to Angelo for me too. He's a very impressive young man. Yeah. Well, let's say hello to the chat, and then I'll get into what we hope to accomplish in the next half hour, 3 minutes. Coming in, tailgating early. Las Cruces, 1971. How you doing, my friend? Hello from Florida. He's saying hello from New Mexico. And, of course, Chop, who got that beautiful Captain Marvel from you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A comic bookworm. He's actually in the UK because his daughter is graduating college, I do believe. How you doing, Named? Joe Travato, which is Anachronic Comics. He's in under some other account here.
Incognito.
Yeah, incognito. Well, he's a fellow attorney. Graphic Man, Micah, how you doing, my friend? I will be, I think, on Four Color Fossils tomorrow, a Graphics Man channel. There's Las Cruces again. Of course, Jackson Roy Kirk, one of the greatest supporters of the community and great also moderating all my different live streams. We were just talking about Dope Comics. He's in there. He's got a Witchcraft 5. He picked up.
Very cool.
He picked it up a little bit after we were on a stream together on Biggie's channel. He picked it up right after, and he sent me that link I told you about today. Yes, Jerry, thank you for putting that link. By the way, and that's everybody. Hey there, Comic Note. By the way, the link below. I also have your last video on the Witchcraft 5.
Okay, cool.
But if anybody wants to see like the before and after, that would be the one to see it because you put side-by-side pictures.
Yep. That's when I do the before and after on the last uploads always.
Correct. And I love the way you do that because you can see the stark differences there. I also put down there that link of Comic Book Plus where you can actually read the Witchcraft 5. You can see the covers, the ads, the whole bit. And that, Jerry, is how I knew what the back cover looked like.
Okay. It's very useful. Right. I look sometimes when I get books and I work on them. I want to see the inside from the beginning to the end just to make sure everything's there. Because some of the books are a little screwy, like the Action Comics that I had that one time that I was working on. There was like half pages inserted.
Right. I remember that one.
I was nervous thinking that maybe it was cut, but it wasn't. That's, I guess, what they did in certain publications from time to time.
Right. That was a new one on me. That was cool. Eric Breen's in here, also my buddy from Four Color Fossils. Jacob Bornowski. Cool. Good to see you here. And Kenneth Bird, another great supporter of this community. Hello to you. All right. So let's get going. What I want to accomplish here, and I was talking to Jerry a little bit before the screen. I want to sort of show you the journey that I went through, or this Witchcraft 5 went through, in order to get back to me and what it means to me. And I'm going to show you what Jerry did. Well, he's going to explain it, but I'm going to show you the interiors. I'm going to show you the whole comic here. So first of all, Jerry, I'm going to make myself big for a second here, Jerry.
Go ahead.
And I mean just figuratively here. All right, here we go. So Jerry, every time, this is how, professional and complete Jerry is. He sends a note. Okay, right? Look at that. He sends a note. This is how, obviously he's an attorney, so he's very exacting, right? But he sends a note and he puts a warning on here. Keep away from water, and then he signs it. So this Jerry is going to stay with this comic when I'm no longer, when I'm hopefully in glory, when I'm no longer around, somebody will read this and say, "Oh, Jerry the Jitterbug, the YouTube phenom, yeah, he worked on this comic." Right?
They could watch the whole series too.
Right. I should put your link on the back there too. You should do that too. Okay, so this is what happened. This is how I acquired the initial copy, right? Well, first let me tell you why I wanted this comic, why it's special to me. When I was a young boy, I think it was my cousin or my brother, he used to have these Mad magazines. You remember those, Jerry, where you do in the back, you would do that little flip so that you could see another scene in the back?
Yes.
I love those Mad magazines.
Yep. Spy versus Spy. That was very
Spy versus Spy, yes.
Well.
Alfred E. Newman, right?
Yep.
So, and he had some from the 60s, and I saw the covers, and I was like, wow, that's an amazing art. Now, this is young Metarog. I was collecting comics, but, I wasn't really an aficionado or anything like that. And I was like, these covers are just amazing. They almost like have a 3D effect to them.
Sure.
And, and I had a few of them. I kept them, but over the years, you know how that happens, Jerry. They sort of, attrition, right?
Yep.
And then when I started collecting comics, I saw this comic maybe in the late 70s, early 80s. I was in high school. On the wall of a comic shop that had just opened in Miami. Okay. And I don't recall the name of it. I'm sorry. And I was like, oh, that is so beautiful. That is so gorgeous. I'm broke. Okay. I got no money. This was like $50 or something. I'm like, it might as well be $1 million.
Sure.
Right. So, but I said one day I'm going to have that comic. All right. So let's say it's 1980, right? It took 40 years, over 40 years for this to get into my possession. That's how long I've been looking for it. So about a year ago, a friend of mine, Lawrence Everett, who his YouTube channel is King of Comicdom. He just got a new job about a year ago, so he's very busy. He hasn't done videos in forever, but he's a good friend. We talk every weekend, almost every other weekend. And he loves to go to antique shops and flea markets. He lives in southeastern Ohio, so he went to a flea market, and it was just a big pile of comics from what he described, and he just bought the whole lot, right? Then he calls me up, and he says, hey, you want to do a FaceTime thing? I got some comics. Maybe you might be interested in some of them. He goes, a lot of them are in really bad shape. So he FaceTimes me, and I see a couple, I might be interested in. We do trades all the time. I've sent him hundreds of comics. He sent me hundreds back. And peeking out in the corner, I just see this little area right here that says wit, right? I was like, Lawrence, is that a witchcraft? Now, there's a couple others that have the green logo. And when he pulls it out, that's what it was, right? Now, he wanted to keep it, right? But I said, okay, well, if you want to keep it, I understand, because he's my good friend. There's no way I'm going to take something that he wants. But I guess he remembered how important this was to me. So when we did the trade, he put it in there.
Oh, that was very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah, he's very generous. So the problem with this, Jerry, as you know, this apparently lived in an attic for decades. So it was brittle, it was dirty, it was the staples were, at least one of them was super rusted. The other one I think was so.
One was right, sure, yep.
And I think it had migrated. A lot of that rust had migrated to the interior paper, so that it was no longer. And of course, it had no back cover, right?
Correct. No back cover.
Right. So, again, in that condition, I don't know what it was worth. I have no idea. Maybe Dope can sort of chime in there. Oh, thank you, Jackson Rokick, for putting all those links. Yeah, let's grow the community right now. I'm all about that. I know Jerry is, so definitely.
Sure.
Anybody wants their link put in there, Jackson, go to it, my friend. So I get this, right? And I'm afraid, Jerry, to even open it. You know that I read all my comics. That's just something that, to me, if I have a comic, I almost owe it to the comic to at least read it. All right. The cover is beautiful. It's missing as you can see, a lot of the top where it would say Avon, 10
Yes.
cent, and number 5. That was gone, Jerry, when I gave it to you.
100%.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I have it, but it's almost like there was like it was almost like there was like something missing about having the comic. I was joyful that I had it, but I couldn't enjoy it, as you know, Jerry. So Jerry had done my Silver Streak, and I didn't want to push it because you have been so great to me, and I know you're a busy guy. But when you said you were going to be in Myrtle Beach, and I was going to be there, I was like, maybe God is telling me something.
No, and it was Mike who told me that you were going there too.
Yes,
if it wasn't, yep. So
yeah, so I was bold enough to say, hey, let's meet Jerry and show you this wreck of a comic. And you looked at it, and I saw your face, and you're like, man, this is rough.
No, it was rough. Did you read it before?
No, I did not. I was afraid because it was everything. Every time I touched it, something would flick off.
Right. Definitely 100%.
So,
but it's holding up since you got it. You can read it now, right?
Oh, I've read it several times, Jerry.
Okay,
yes, I read it several times.
That's my gauge. If you can't read a book, then you should try to conserve it. That's the one gauge.
Well, I'm with you. So take it from here, Jerry. When you got this comic from me, what did you think, and what happened from that point on?
Well, I met Roger in South Carolina.
Yeah.
We met and very briefly for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He gave me the book with some nice AOKs for me and Angelo, the comic guy, my nephew. And I looked at it, and I did take it out of the bag when I went back to the room very briefly. And as you said, when I took it out, there were just flakes, things falling off. And I thought to myself, what is a way that we can do this? Because the way the cover was, the way it was so brittle, even if the back cover was there, if it was leaf casting wouldn't do anything because it would still be brittle. So what we did is Roger did research. He found out another Avon publication that had the same. I sent it back to you, the same back cover.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you got to send me your email so I can PayPal you for this.
It's okay. That was
not part of the bargain. Okay.
It's okay. So I bought that. It was inexpensive. It was maybe $10, $9 or $10. We found it, and I removed the cover and I leaf casted both of them together. But the important thing with this book is, number one, both books were in very poor shape. And I was trying to think of a way to do it where it would last because you wanted to read it. And that's where I came up with the idea of just putting Tengojo paper on the whole back of the cover after leaf casting. So, Roger, right now you can bend that cover, or at least when I had it, you can bend it and nothing happens. Nothing happens to it. There is a slight discolorization that happens when you do that. It's like a little haze over it, but
it's very minor, Jerry.
Correct. I'm okay. I'm okay with that because it achieves the goal where you could actually read the book without. I'm doing that now to Mike's Captain.
You're doing to Mike. Okay, I was going to tell you honestly, right? When I first saw it, I was like, he did put that Tengojo paper on there, didn't he? Because when you feel it, it's like just a little bit like of a fine grit.
Right, like a fine grit. But also, for some reason, it impacts the black inks more than the light inks because it will let the black look a little hazy. But I'm okay with how it turned out, and I have no issue with doing that. And I'm going to start doing that on books that fall apart, that are brittle. Because no matter what you do, you soak it or however you try to repair the paper, if it's shot and it's brittle, it's going to fall apart.
And one thing that I also noticed, Jerry, I think you put methyl cellulose because it looks like there's a little barrier along the spine that doesn't allow you to over flex it.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes, it's right to make it stronger, the spine. And I learned from this book, Roger. Again, your book was a guinea pig. Thank you, because I'm
You're
going to.
thanking me. You're one of a kind, Jerry.
No, I'm going to modify a few things that I did with your book on Mike's book. And the reason why the spine it's a little rigid, the spine. And the reason why it's a little rigid is the way I folded the spine, which I'm happy with the way it's rounded. I actually loaded it up with methyl cellulose to preserve it a little bit better.
I figured as much.
But I think if that book, I'm curious to see, and I think Mike's book, we're going to send the CGC, and we're going to see if the putting a whole layer of the Tengojo paper will actually get a conserved grade. Mike is a little uncertain whether he wants to send that book to CGC, but if I send it for him, I think he'll do it. So we're going to see what happens. But that was a lot of work, and every page had to be leaf casted. And when I leaf casted the cover, the leaf casting pulp came out dynamite. It matched up perfect.
It does.
I had a problem with the leaf casting for the inner pages because the issue was that each page was a different color to a degree. And then also each page by the staple, it was so rusted out that I really couldn't start removing a tremendous amount of the original material. So you can see that it's leaf casted, but the important thing is that it's solid and you can definitely read the book. So that's the key thing.
I agree that that's to me, this is the perfect Witchcraft 5 because you can manipulate it, you can read it without, as long as you keep it away from water, right? Moisture.
Oh yeah, water's like the gremlins. If water hits it,
there's no harm to it because you obviously when you did the aqueous bath for the pages,
sure,
and you leaf cast it, it makes this little border here so that how sometimes the corner of the pages after a certain amount of time, almost like metal stress fracture, it'll start to fray a bit. Not this. This is reinforced.
It is. It is.
Where you don't have to worry about that.
There are some inner pages that I also reinforced with Tengojo paper.
Really?
So I did leaf cast it. And when I do the inner pages, I actually put the leaf casting minus the centerfold. I put the leaf casting on the inside of the page. So the page on top of it covers the leaf casting. So when I show my pictures of a page that I do of the leaf casting on an interior page, if the spine of that interior page is not exact, it doesn't matter because once the other page is on top of it and it's folded, you don't notice it because it's each page is covering the other page. But then the centerfold, I do the leaf casting on the back side of the leaf casting.
Jerry, I want to make myself big. Excuse me.
Sure.
And you keep talking. I just want to show while you're talking. Sure. All right. Because it's interesting, the centerfold here. And I want to say something about that as well, Jerry. The centerfold actually recreates the graphic from the cover.
It does. It does. Yep.
Right? So that's Kelly Free's. Okay, the cover is painted, but that looks to me like more line work. So I think he either redrew it or they just transformed it.
Correct. And that's tight, that inner page.
Very tight. As you can see, when I'm holding it, it doesn't fold all the way down.
I did that on purpose because I knew you wanted to read it. And when that's the pages that I folded on the dowel. And it's a new process that I used. And I'm friends now with the professional restorer, Kenny Sanderson. We talk on the phone. And he gave me some tips. And he says, next time you do it, just to water it down a little bit more. It was a little too thick. But I would still do it the same way I did it with your book for you. Because I knew that it wasn't going to be sent to CGC. And I wanted to make a book for you that you can actually thumb through and you can read and you don't have to worry about putting it down with gloves like that.
No.
That's a hardy Cadillac right there.
It is right. But you know what? You cleaned it, but it still has a little bit of that old pulpy smell.
It does. I didn't go too aggressive with the cleaning.
Okay.
Each page was soaked with water and my detergent. I use Palmolive, that antibacterial soap.
Right.
But it came out nice. And every time I do one of these books, I always have issues with what I do. And I think the reason why I have issues is because I work on it for so long and I see all the little imperfections that happened. But once it's all together, the owner, meaning you, it's just you're happy having a book that you can thumb through and call it yours, that at least you can read it. But that book was in very rough shape, very
to say the least. And let me tell you, I really enjoy the interior art. The first story is drawn by Jean Fawcett, which did a lot of Avon comics in the past, during this era, I should say. And he's a pretty good artist, let me tell you.
There was a lot of skulls in there, and there was a lot of devils were in there right there, I believe. There was a lot of creepy stuff, and I can see a lot of art in there was probably looked at by a lot of future artists. It was really, really some good stuff in there.
Yeah, look at that face there with the shadowing. Really,
no doubt about it. It was really some nice artwork in there.
So let's talk about this panel here, Jerry. This panel right here.
That's the coupon.
That's the coupon.
Yeah, so that's another comic right there. And there you can see I leaf casted it, and it was off a little. I'm going to be honest, Roger, when I was doing this book, and I really wanted to color touch it, and I didn't do it. And I was going to ask you if you wanted me to do it, but I said, you know what, that's not my thing. I don't do it. But when I was doing the interior pages, I could have took my teas and my dyes, and I could have made it perfect. But I said, you're not hiding anything, because
I'm not hiding anything, right? But what's interesting about this is that you don't lose anything with this panel, because you have the actual word bubble is all in there.
Yes.
And I looked at the original panel, and it's actually a blurring long shot of this guy coming out of a fiery building.
Right.
So at first glance, you can't tell that word bubble is anything out of place.
I was going to leaf cast over it and cover the graphics, and I decided not to do it because it was fun. It's just comic. And you see the difference, Roger. You see how each page in different books is completely different. Look how much space there is with the donor book that I had to fill in relation to your witchcraft. So it's at least 1/4 of an inch there that was missing. It really didn't line up that well. But I was happy to use that same coupon. It was cool to be able to put it in at least one page.
I like the way you put the coupon. Even the little rips that you put are exactly the same as the rip that was in the comic.
Yes. So what I do is when I do these series, I think I was at number 15 at this point, and I have to be honest, it gets a little tiring after a while producing this. Yeah, that's awesome. The zombies.
Look at that. Isn't that something?
So what I did was I put a piece of paper over the cutout area, and I traced the exact cutout, and then I cut that out with a scissor, and I traced it over the coupon. That's how I got it.
Oh, that's very clever. Very clever. Yeah, this is a great little zombie story here, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm a fan of zombie stories, so
me too.
It was truly it's a beautiful comic. It's definitely a cool comic.
Let me say hi to the chat here. A few people.
Sure.
Continue, Jerry, because I know I saw Gary B. My buddy is here. He came in a little late. He just had a 1011 before this. Trev, the shipping guru, great to see you, my friend. James Gallegos, how you doing, my friend? Great to have you again in my chat. One of the just greatest supporters from years back on my channel. Yeah,
James messed up one of my books that I'm working on now because he made a few comments that he really threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing that I had to change my course of what I was doing. You'll see when it comes out. Okay. It's good, all good.
I'm sure. Alex Big Blue, how you doing, Alex from Kentucky? So we got some great people in here. So I want to just continue because I am so. Oh, by the way, this this story is by Hollingsworth. I think his name is A.C. Hollingsworth. I'm just letting people know who the artists are. And again, I knew that I would like this comic, because of Kelly Freas and my passion for him. But when I read the comic, I love it even 20 times more.
Roger, it makes me that much happier that I did the book for you. So,
this is interesting, Jerry. The cover, right? This is the story the cover is based on.
Okay.
It's a text story.
What story was it?
This cover is based on this text story about this couple that goes into a cave, and they're trying to get out, and they run into this ghoul, and the ghoul kills the lady, and the guy comes out, and he's the one who tells the story about that ghoul. Notice on the cover here, I don't know if you noticed this, Jerry, on the cover, all these bones down here, and then there's like this little highlights of blood everywhere.
The female on the cover reminds me of, who was the actress? O'Hara. Remember, she was in movies.
Oh yes, Maureen O'Hara.
If you look at her, I bet you they based, because they used to.
You're right. The hair, the dress, yeah.
It looks like her. When I was working on the book, it reminded me of her. So
you're right. Really cool story, that zombie story, and really cool text story as well. And then we have, of course, it's witchcraft, right? So we have the Witch of Death.
Very cool, Roger. Very cool.
and this is one of those stories where it's like, hey, when you don't listen to advice, you don't listen to people who know what they're talking about, who have gone through things, and you just, you ignore wisdom, and eventually, I'm spoiling it here, but the guy meets its comeuppance from a scarecrow.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's a wonderful book, Roger. It truly is. The stories, the art. Unfortunately, I didn't read it. I would just look at the pages, working on it. I don't read many books. Mm-hmm. I should read them. I like to work on them. I used to read a lot of books, but lately,
you're a busy guy, so I can understand why you wouldn't. But if you have a chance, that Comic Book Plus, let me put you back here, Jerry. I don't like to be on here without you. Comic Book Plus link I have below. Maybe one, when you're just relaxing sometime, you're like, let me check it out. You'll see how cool it is. And here's the back cover that was married to this. And again, you can't tell. I mean, somehow you centered this perfectly. I'm not sure how, but you can't tell.
It did line up. I have to say, some people commented. They were like, "Oh, I don't think you lined it up," when they're watching my uploads.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
I know I lined it up.
No,
I'm the one that did it. So.
I'll tell you why I know. Because when you open it, all right, and you can see the actual edge here of the front cover and the actual interior, it lines perfectly. I mean, absolutely, like a razor's edge, perfectly.
Thank you. I'm getting a little bit better every book.
Well, if you're getting better than this, then you're scary, my friend.
No, I'm gonna give. I wish I had the chemical that I'm using now for this book. I didn't have it back then. That's the only thing I wish was different. I could have made it a little more cleaner, the cover, but it's good the way it came out.
I mean, the cover has just ever so slightly a little bit of a shadow or something here.
It's patina. It matches the scariness of the book with the missing pieces. And when I was done, I'm like, should I go a little bit further? And I said, you know what? Let's leave it because it matches.
I agree.
It was fine for me.
There's a couple things I wanted to say, Jerry, about this comic. First of all, this comic, somebody loved this comic. That was obvious. It's been read. It's been abused, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So somebody loved this comic. There's somebody out there in Ohio or West Virginia or somebody who had this comic and absolutely loved it. You can tell that, they read the back cover off of it.
100%. 100%.
And that means more to me, because to me, a pristine comic is a sad comic to me.
Right.
Because now you're Not this is nothing against high grade collectors. Obviously, it's worth a lot of money and there's high collectability.
Sure.
But the character of the comic to me matters a lot. And the
I
fact
like that too, Roger. I agree. I like lower grade
I know
comics.
you do. We're in the same boat. I know that.
Right.
I'm preaching to the choir here.
And I've been thinking when I do these books and when I do the interior pages, I used to leaf cast every page around the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped doing it to a degree because if there's a little nipple or a little bump that's out or a little rip in it, the rips I'll fix. But if there's a tiny little chunk missing, sometimes I'll leave it because it gives it character and it's the way it was. So
you're right. Marina O'Hara was a redhead. Yeah, this is a redhead too.
Yeah, I think they based. Yeah. I bet you he liked her and he looked at her as a model or something because it really looks like her. And I would say that's a redhead too, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I'm just looking at the chat here, see if there's any.
I don't look at the chat when I'm on these lives. I can't do two things at once.
Oh,
number one, I wear glasses, so it's blurry, and I'm not wearing my glasses now.
No worries. I was just wondering if anybody has any other questions about the comic or Jerry and what he did for it. But we're going to be wrapping this up soon. So to wrap up my part of the story, actually, let me take Chop's comment off here. And again, thanks to all of you for hanging out here. 14 hanging out. This is why I love this community, because they know how important this is to us.
Sure.
And they're here to support us. And we're trying to entertain them too, right?
I do my best.
This comic, although I wouldn't say it's rare. Dope, I think, did talk about how there's 30 something in the census. But it's not many.
That's not many though.
Not many, right?
No.
And especially because during this era, the Avons were, we were talking about that, Jerry, the covers, you saw that other one, that was not that much better.
They used the cheapest paper they could use. That's what they did. And
that's right. And that means that they're less outstanding, of course.
Sure.
But the other thing I wanted to say is that Kelly Freas, who did this cover, this is his only comic book horror cover. He did a lot of pulps during the 50s. He did the Mad magazines. He also did some other comics. He did a Christmas comic, which I have.
Mm-hmm.
He did a cover of a digest, Marvel Digest, which I have. And he did two others. I'm only missing one. It's like a common Star Trek cover. So I'm going to be doing a special on him as well.
You did one, Roger, and you showed all. I think you did one.
I did? Already. Oh, okay.
No,
well,
I asked you.
Star Trek, I'll do it again because I'm so excited about him.
Okay. You showed all your books. There was one, the Alien cover with the UFO.
Right. That was one of them. Yeah, that's true. That was the magazine. Right. Yeah. And he also did. I also have a few of his pulps. I don't know if I showed those. But so again, full circle, right? From young Metarog, collecting comics but not knowing really much about them, 1980, seeing this in a comic book shop, being poor as a pauper, to building relationships in this community in which Lawrence Everett was part of, building a friendship, and him essentially gifting this to me. Then, based on my friendship with Jerry through this community, he was magnanimous enough to do all this work, hours and hours and hours of work on this, and send it back to me. So what is the lesson here, right?
The golden rule.
The golden rule, right, exactly. You build friendships, you treat everybody with respect, you be true to yourself, you dream, and you continue to chase after that goal. You never give up on it, because you never know, that next day could turn everything around.
Right.
And yes, it's just a comic. It's not a life-changing event, right? But for us comic collectors, for us community members, for us YouTubers, for us passionate people, it does mean something.
It does. And especially you telling the story, Roger, like I said, it makes it that much more special that I did work on. It makes me feel very happy. So it's a great thing. It definitely is. And I practice my skills.
Well,
Another stepping stone.
I like the way you look at it that way. Hey, Donnie, how you doing, my friend? Jerry, do you have a list of the fees that you charge for specific restoration?
I don't charge for doing it. No, I work for books. So I want particularly Whiz comics. So that's my fee. A few good Whiz comics here and there. I'll do a lot for that. It's sort of sad, but that's what I do. I don't charge. I don't think I'm going to. I'm not looking to do it because then it takes the fun out, I think, personally. And I'm only doing it for certain people in the community, my friends and other people that I like. And I'm not saying I dislike people, but you understand, Roger, people
right.
that I have friendships with. And also a lot is about the book. And when people ask me, oh, you work on such old books, Golden Age books, the Golden Age books are easier to work on than a Silver Age book, in my opinion, than a modern book, than a bronze books are actually easier than Silver Age, because Marvel's Silver Age are very wimpy. They're very delicate.
The shipping is awful on those.
Sure. But
thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe, for that.
But the Golden Age, it's really, they're strong and they're good books to work on. So if I'm interested in the book, I will do it. I have books lined up to work on probably until the new year. I have 3 of Mike's that I'm doing.
Mike's got a queue, yeah. By the way, Chop, to answer your question, I've seen Jerry in person. You're right. He doesn't look a day over 25.
Oh, no. I'm 50.
He does not. Got a gray hair on him. He's just this good-looking guy, just sort of smooth as silk. Yeah, trust me.
I'm tired. I'll tell you, the second time I got COVID when I came back from Disney, I still feel it in my chest. It's not good,
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. That's not a joke there. That's true. I'm glad you're better, but man, right. It's messed up so many people that I know of. So it's not a joke. Absolutely. Yeah, Dope. Again, I love Dope because he talk about a passionate about pre-code horror. This guy is off the chain, right?
Sure. He has a great channel.
Oh, fabulous. Make sure that you put his link down here, Jackson, because this is a guy you definitely want to see if you like horror comics. I have a few, I pick and choose the ones, but Dope is like way out there,
I'm starting to really like them, and there's a few genres that I'm starting to like, and I don't want to start collecting because I really go other books. I want to stick with what I want, and that's it.
Yeah, you're the Fawcett guy here. You're the Fawcett guy in the community.
I am. I do like Fawcett, and I have a lot of other ones as well. But Fawcett is the main one. The Wiz, I want to try to complete the run. There's only 155 books. I probably have about half of them, maybe.
You say only, but 155 Golden Age comics is not easy.
It's not. I'm worried about the first 10. That's what I'm worried about. Other than that, it's doable. But now I've been noticing they've been commanding a lot bigger prices, I guess, because of the movies that are coming out.
Right.
You used to be able to pick a few of them up for 40, 50. Now people are asking for 200, 300, but they're sitting there. They're not selling. But we'll get it done, slow and steady.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Don. You're welcome, Dope. You're fabulous, my friend. I enjoy your honesty and your passion. Those are the kind of things that I admire. Sorry I missed it earlier. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, wake up there, Jackson Roy Kirk. Come on, what's up? What's up over there in New Orleans? What's going on? I'm just messing with him.
There's a lot of good content every day.
I'm messing with him. Let's see what James says here. Jerry's favorite Fawcett, least favorite romance.
Yeah, I'm not a romance guy. When Mike starts showing me on the romance, I'm like, ooh, I'm not into romance comics.
I could tell the sweethearts when you got that. You're like,
no. He took that, Mike, too. I was like, okay.
Oh, by the way, I put this back together.
Okay, good.
And read it as well. I have about 20 coverless comics from the Golden Age that are messed up, but some of them have good staples. So I removed the staples.
Good.
I did a minor Jerry conservation on this.
Very nice.
And I took another back cover from another one. It only had the back cover, and it was another Avon. So I put that on. It's not taped or anything.
Did you no loose. Tape? No,
yeah, they're both loose. You know, so I got another comic, Jerry, and you know this is not as cool, of course, but
it's pretty cool though.
You know, but you know, there's one thing. If you like, this is one of those things about this publisher that I love. The interior covers always have these like little mini stories in them.
I did notice that. I did know, and I really like. I the go. I'm a big skull guy. I like things with skulls, and that the bottom right of the inner cover is just awesome, especially skulls and top hats. I believe he does have a top hat on.
Correct.
And it's an amazing art. I was going to photocopy it. What is that right there?
That's the one from the Western.
Oh, so that was even the same interior. I didn't even know.
No, it has. They all have graphics that pertain to that comic.
Okay.
So I'm saying it's almost like another page of art that you get with an Avon comic.
It was very, very cool publisher.
Yeah, they're very unique in that fashion, in that sense. You know, that I will say if you're into a certain amount of unusual comics, you know, very specifically different comics, Avon is one of those publishers. Let's see. Listen, Jerry's right. There's a lot of daily classic hippies collectible in this pack. Okay, minor Jerry, as if it. Oh yeah, I love this community, man. They're just so great. Norman, how you doing in the UK? What does he say? What does Joe say here? Lawyers are not into romance. Too many divorce cases. Oh, you guys are too much. You guys are too much. All right, well, let's wrap it up, Jerry. We've been here almost 45 minutes, and I really just wanted
Great fun, Roger. Thank you.
I just wanted to epilogue to this. It's going up here. It's going behind me.
Very nice.
Right over here.
I like that.
Where that skeleton is, that's where its home is going to be from now on.
Very good. I'm happy.
I'll probably read it about every couple months, knowing me and how fascinated I am with this thing.
Awesome.
But again, I just wanted to personally thank you.
You're welcome.
Amazing job.
It was a pleasure.
You're a great friend. I mean, you never let me pay for anything. And I'll get you back for that though. I'm looking out for certain things for you.
Very good.
And
look out for those whole covers. I'll buy them.
I will. Don't worry. Again, my friend Lawrence Everett, he finds kinds of odd things. So
okay.
I already have him on the hunt as well. So I just wanted to thank you. Please take care of yourself. Feel better.
Thank you.
Continue doing what you're doing because your videos are just so immersive and they're just must-watch stuff.
I've been a little thumbnail like clickbait lately with my thumbnails. And because someone contacted me Pop Comics and he wanted to help me. He says your thumbnails with the writing it's too generic. You have to make it a little bit catchy. And he's trying to guide me. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I've been changing it since I noticed. And I've been getting like twice as many views, so I'm going to continue down that path. People who watch my channel, they know it's series 1, 2, 3. It gets a little boring. I want to try to bring in more viewers.
Well, thanks to the chat. Again, Jerry, his link to that restoration video is below. If for whatever reason, make sure you're subscribed to him because I know when he gets to 2,000, there's going to be a big giveaway.
Yes,
Jerry doesn't give out modern little, X-Men, no, he gives out the good stuff. All right.
I'm gonna do a 1,750 subscribers.
Oh, you're even going before that. Ask Chuck.
We're right around the corner.
Ask James Gallegos what he got. those guys are like throwing confetti up every time Jerry has a contest.
I try.
Thank you, Chuck White, for coming in. Thank you, my friend. All right, so let's wrap it up, Jerry. I don't want to keep you anymore. I know that you've been busy tonight, and you probably want to get some rest. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you to the chat too. I'm sorry I didn't see every single one. Like I said, I'm a glasses wearing guy, so I can see Joe, Chop, but I just see the logos, so that's how I know you're commenting.
Attorneys have to see a lot of small print, so a lot of dick stuff. So yeah. Okay, so let's get out of here, everybody. Thank you again for coming by. Let's go and support other channels tonight if you're not working or if you're not super tired. Everybody knows what I'm going to say. Be kind to each other, be blessed, and be back.